Hi, everyone. My name is Mickey Hudson. As many of you may know me by now. This is the Facebook Live for mySewnet Project Creator. So I'll give everybody just a few minutes to log in. But again, my name is Mickey Hudson. I am with mySewnet, and we are going to be talking about the mySewnet Project Creator, among other things. So I've got quite a few things that I'm going to be talking about. So just a reminder that our events are recorded. So it will be recorded if you want to watch it again. We do not ask for any personal information. So do not hand out any personal information. And I have my behind the scenes crew that are working remotely, and it's Meredith, Ryan, and Thomas. So every once in a while you'll hear me talk about the crew, and that's who I'm talking about. Okay, so if we're good to go and we've got people joined, we're going to go ahead and talk about the mySewnet Project Creator. Now, there's a couple of things too that I want to talk about, especially regarding who can use mySewnet, because there is a lot of confusion about that. There's quite a few people that are, I see it in posts and chats and all that kind of stuff, that you have to have a mySewnet Wi-Fi capable machine in order to benefit from mySewnet in any way. And that's not necessarily true. So when it comes to the mySewnet embroidery, for instance, any machine can use that. Any brand, any model, any kind, even the big multi-needles. So the mySewnet embroidery software can be used by anyone. And even the project creator that we're going to be using today can really be used by anyone. And now the mySewnet library is also accessible to anyone. So if you have the subscription, for the subscription purposes, you will need a Wi-Fi capable machine. However, on the library, we can now purchase designs. So once you've purchased a design, you can do with it what you want. Within limit, we're going to talk about that too. And it's really just copyright designs that we're going to be talking about. Which brings us to the next little bit of information that I would like to give. So if you've not been to the mySewnet library recently, they have added, like I mentioned, purchased designs. So you can purchase a design. And I think they range from 99 cents to $9.49 or something like that, and varies in between depending on what you get. However, we have some free ones. And so we're going to talk about those, because in today's project creator, we're going to make this little flap. So I'm going to write out the instructions in the project creator, and you could do it with me on this little flap. And this is the Disney Cruella design. And so we have quite a collection of the Disney Cruella designs. And there's quite a few of you that know that Disney is partnered with or tied in with another company. However, mySewnet is part of the SVP Worldwide, and which is an official partner or collaborator with Disney on the film Cruella. So on this particular film, we're helping celebrate the release of it. So we have a collaboration going on regarding the Cruella movie. So yes, you can use the designs. Yes, it's all legal and up and up. There's nothing sneaky going on. So feel free to go ahead and download them. They are free. And then while you're there, just peruse the library, because there's quite a few really exciting designs on there. But one of the reasons that I wanted to, bring in the Cruella as well is because of the copyright issue. And it gives me an opportunity to talk about some of the can and can'ts when it comes to copyright issue. So for instance, the Cruella designs are free to you on the mySewnet library, and you can use them for your personal use. You may not sell them. You may not share the design, all the typical stuff. You don't want to change it or anything like that. And if you've ever done commercial work, you know Disney is a big company and they do watch. So I wouldn't risk it. But you can use it for your own personal use all you want. So I have been personally having just a ball with the designs and making all kinds of stuff. So we're going to talk about making that flap. So when we go through that, we're just talking about adding a flap to a bag. So if you have a ready-made bag or if you have a bag in mind that you want to do, this is going to be the flap to do it. The other thing that I'm going to be showing you how to do is baseball. So we're not actually going to be stitching out the baseball, but I'm going to show you how I wrote the instructions. And the two Project Creator projects that I'm doing will be shareable at the end of the video, so or at the end of the Facebook Live. So we'll go ahead and post it afterwards, and that way you can go ahead and use it as well. So it'll have this particular design on it, as well as some basic instructions on how to put it back together. And so if we're ready to go, so are there any questions or comments or observations or anything that you would like to touch on before we get into the mySewnet world? No? Okay. So let's scooch on over to the mySewnet. So I'm just starting on a blank page. You can use any browser. I happen to use Google, but you can use any browser. And you're just going to, if you type in mySewnet.com, you can go ahead and it'll pop you right up. Now, this is the home page. So if you have not, I really highly recommend to come over and create an account. So you would do that by coming into my account. And if you're not signed in, you will get the screen that says make an account. And it is very simple. You're just going to create an email and a password. And so that will link everything up together. It's really easy to follow the instructions. So it's really, really basic. Also on the main page, so I've come back to the main page, and there's just all this information. So signing into an account or creating an account is free, and you do not have to have a mySewnet Wi-Fi capable machine to have an account. So you can go ahead and sign in. The downloads, for those of you that do have a mySewnet Wi-Fi capable machine, this is where you can get access to your apps and stuff like that if you want to look for your apps. Okay, but we're going to come over to tools. In tools, you'll see that I have access to my cloud, my library, and Project Creator. So I know some of you may have seen this and wondered what it is. Some of you may have used it, and some of you may have never heard of it at all. So it'll be quite exciting. But we're going to come over to the Project Creator. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and touch on that, and it'll bring my Project Creator open. So here it's going to, I can create a new project. I can open a previously saved, and they even give us an example. So when you decide to sit down and play with it, it'll give you a walkthrough so you can, set an example. Now, I've already created some things here, but we're going to start one from scratch so we can show you. Even though I've already done this, we're going to make this again. So what I'm going to do, I just want to make a quick peek. Yep, I sure did. Good girl. Had a little moment of worry there for a second. So we're going to go ahead and create a new project. So the very first thing that it's going to want to do is you're going to want to name it. So I'm going to call it, I'm going to actually pop myself up here too so you can see me. So we're going to go ahead and just call it Pocket Flappykins. Okay. And here, once we go to the next, it's going to say, describe your project. So I'm just going to put an add-on for a purse pattern. And Here is a space for a photograph. This little landscape icon is for your images, your pictures, etc. There's different things that we can add to the project creator. But I'm going to go ahead and touch add image. And I'm just going to go ahead and go to, oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. I'm going to have you look at these pictures for 1 second. Here I thought I was being such a good girl, but apparently something went wrong. So I had my little USB port. I'll just put this over here. Okay, so my little USB will pop up. I'm going to go ahead and open it. This is what I was looking for with all my pictures. So I do really apologize for that. But we're going to go ahead and go into my flap, and I can select my picture and open it. And it's going to go ahead and drop my picture right into that spot. Now I can actually edit it if I wanted to edit it. So I'm going to come over here. And one of the things I want you to see is on the screen here, it's sideways, it's cattywampus, and I want it to be up and down. So what I can do is I can come down here and say, flap. I can say I want to, it might just be too big as part of what the problem is. So I'm just going to go and set tools. So this is just kind of a note for those of you that are taking notes. If I have to adjust the size, I usually just stick around 10. So I just type in 10 right up at the top here and then tell it okay. I'm going to go ahead and just put 10. Okay. Well, I'm just having all kinds of fun today. All right. So I can edit this. Well, this is actually pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as I said, this is little cattywampus to the side. So I'm going to come over here and edit. And all I'm going to do is just delete that and bring in another. So now I'm looking for my 10. There we go. Now this one will go straight up and down. See? Okay. So I've got my picture of my finished project that is in there. And now we're going to go to what supplies do you use? So this is a great thing to do. And the reason that you would use Project Creator, at least what I like to do it, is with the exception of the Disney copyrighted issue stuff. If I create a design and I create an idea and I create a pattern and I create a project and I think this is the coolest thing I've ever made in my life, I can share it. So now I can just type in everything that I want to do and everything that I used and how I did it. And then I can share that with all my friends, my neighbors, the postman, whoever I want to. And so it's really exciting. And that is what Project Creator does. So I'm going to come back to, now when it comes to adding the supplies, as you can see, I have a finished one. So when it comes to adding supplies, I'm not going to put my whole list in here, but it is going to ask what kind of supplies do you have or do you need? So I may want to say an embroidery machine. Because once again, with mySewnet, I can use any embroidery machine. I can say I used, on this particular, I used the metal hoop. That was 180 by 130. I used a tearaway stabilizer. I used thread, a new needle. So you just type in, go on down the list to everything that you want to add. I added piping. So I typed in a piping foot and then the piping cord. So everybody getting that so far? Everyone, yes? Okay, so we've got the supply list. We've got the picture of the finished product. The next thing we're going to do is just type out the instructions. Now, we can, I said, like we could add pictures, we can add stitches, we can add embroidery, and we can add video. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and continue on down. So in this one, I'm going to say what was the first thing that I did? So I downloaded the design. So that's the first thing I did. How did I do that? At mySewnet library. So I'm going to come over here to the library because I want to show you. If we come over here to the library, we can come over here. For right now, it's right front and center. But eventually, it's not going to be front and center anymore, and you will find it in Browse Categories. And it has its own category. So you can come right over here to Cruella. And all the designs are going to be available. And you can see that they're free. And they're going to stay free. So that's pretty exciting. So when it comes to downloading the design for this particular project, this is where mySewnet Wi-Fi capable machines can come in handy, because I can, if I don't have a Wi-Fi capable machine, I can still use the design. So I can save it, I can purchase it. Now, if I have a Wi-Fi capable machine, this is where the cool part comes in, because I can actually say, I would like to send that right over to my Wi-Fi capable machine. And if I do that, it pops up, it pops up right here, right on my screen. So you do not have to have a Wi-Fi capable machine in order to use these products. But when you do have a Wi-Fi capable machine, all of a sudden these interactive abilities kick in, and that's where they connect. All right. So in this case, I can untie my tongue. So I can purchase it. Which it's free. I can send it right to my Wi-Fi capable machine. I can also send it to my computer. So where it says mini mySewnet, if I were to touch that, it would send it over to my desktop, and it would drop it right into my software. So I could add stuff, put my name, all that kind of fun stuff. Okay. I can save it, or I can download it to the cloud. So this one has already been saved, but if you hit save and it hasn't, it'll say, okay, now it's saved. You're going to want to go look for it under this name. So you can find it later. Okay. Now, if you come over to, I'm just going to touch here. So if you come over here to the cloud, this is where you're going to find things. Just give it a minute to catch in. So if you were to save something to your Wi-Fi capable machine, so you've made your design on your screen, and when you save it, it actually goes right there as well. So if you don't have a Wi-Fi capable machine and you save it on your machine, it's gonna stay there. But if you do have a Wi-Fi capable machine and everything's signed in, it's just so cool. All right. So there is a folder here that is called library. So anything that you download from the library, it goes into the library folder. So if we go ahead and click that, so it does bring it in as numbers. And I personally am not a numbers girl. So as soon as I download something that I want to keep, or I know I have a specific use for, I will just come over here and I can rename it. So if I touch the little pencil, which is edit, I can name it whatever I want. So we're good so far? Because the library in this case is going to come in handy, and the cloud is going to be coming in handy. Okay. All right. So I just tell it mySewnet library, browse categories, download, or in this case, I could say Cruella. So let's say I'm making this for a friend. And so I'm telling her, this is how you're going to go do it. So I'm making this to send to a friend of mine. You're going to go to mySewnet library. You're going to browse categories. You're going to go to Cruella. And this particular design is called Speak of the Devil. I download the Speak of the Devil. Okay, so once we're done, we can go ahead, and this is our little add feature here. So I'm going to say, or I think I actually took a picture. So this is, I'm going to go ahead and add a picture here and see if I added it. And I did not. So when it comes to, just a little reminder once again, that when it comes to owned designs, you can't share the design. So because Project Creator will allow you to share designs, but don't be sharing this. Instead, direct them to where they can get it, because they can get it for free, just a couple of clicks. And I actually took a picture of what the library looked like so that you could see it. But I can't link the design itself. Okay. So we're going to come down here to add. And so once I've downloaded this, I'm going to go ahead and hoop fabric. Oh, and see, so now I want to see something. So I'm going to do tear away. So I'm going to come back up here because I've just realized you're going to need fabric. So I can say I want to add fabric, and whatever size I need to, I'll say 2 at 11 by 7. So the correct numbers will be in the one you get. And this will be for the flap. And then I can say I need, double click, and then I need fabric. I need 1 inch by 10 inch for piping. So, but I can go and back and edit anytime I want to. So that is pretty cool. So I'm going to come back here to the hoop fabric. I can tell it, so hoop tear away with 1, just go ahead and say 1 of the, what was it, 11 by 7? 11 by, that's the problem when you make up numbers. And then I can come down here and go to my next step. So my next step would be to talk about the piping. So once this is, or, embroider it. So hoop fabric and embroider. Stitch out. And now I can say, okay, now we're going to stitch piping. So I can say stitch piping and attach the piping foot. Now this one is going to be interesting, because if you've ever made piping before, and you may not do this, but it is the way that I like to do it, and I know many other people do. But when we put the piping foot on and we wrap the fabric with the piping, the needle is going to be nice and snug. That piping foot puts that needle exactly where it's supposed to be. But if you're going to make piping before you attach it to anything, sometimes we want that needle a little bit over to the right so that when we sew everything together, we can put that needle back in the center and get that really tight final stitch. So this is what I'm going to do here is I am going to load a stitch on here. So I'm going to come here. So here is where the mySewnet cloud comes in handy. So I'm going to just go back to the mySewnet cloud, and I actually saved a couple of stitches. So if you're seeing here where it says piping HV and piping FOF, so if I have a FOF, a Husqvarna Viking sewing machine, I would load this. So my friend has a Husqvarna Viking sewing machine. I can load this. If my friend has a FOF sewing machine, I can load this. So for this one, you do need a Wi-Fi capable machine. So, okay, so we'll come back to that. So the question is, can I save my project to my computer? All right, I want to clarify that. So yes, you can save your project how you normally would. This is not a requirement. This is a fun extra. So if you're sitting there watching this going, am I going to have to do this every time I want to save a project? That's not what this is. So you can save your projects on your hard drive. You can save them on your floppy. You can save them in the cloud. You can do whatever you want. But what Project Creator is I have this cool project and I want to share my project with somebody else. And so that is what this is. If you want to do that, then you would go through these steps. And then at the end, you can share this with your friend or your quilt guild or your class, if you're a teacher, all kinds of stuff like that. But this is not a requirement to save your project. No. Does that help? So let me go back to Google. So what I'm going to do here is, because I'm on a Husqvarna Viking, I'm going to go ahead and download the Husqvarna Viking. And this little icon here with the little arrow down, it's going to save it. And so now I will find this stitch in my downloads. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to tell them how to do this. So let's say I'm sharing this with two friends. One has a Wi-Fi capable machine, one does not. So I will say select a straight stitch. This is for my one who doesn't. Move the needle 2 clicks to the right. And then over here, I can say for my Wi-Fi friend, click on the icon below. So now I can come in here. So this is the image if I want to load a picture. And this is if I want to add a stitch. So now I can come over here. I can either load it right from the cloud, or because that question was up, you can download it and save it to your computer. But I'm going to actually go it through this way. Come on. Well, maybe not. There we go. So I'm going to go to my downloads and I'm going to look for it's piping. Should have cleaned out my downloads before There it is. So I'm going to go ahead and open. Now, unlike the picture, when you load an image, when you load a stitch, you're not going to see the stitch. So, but it is there, and you know it's there because of this little icon. So what the Wi-Fi capable machine can do is now when you've shared this, if they have a Wi-Fi machine, when they come to that stitch, they can go ahead and click on that. Because over here, when I chose this stitch, and I came over here, and can you see the whole screen? Yes. I moved my needle over the two places, and then I came down and saved it. And I can save it as whatever I wanted to call it. In this case, I called it piping HV. So that's how you do that. And then once you've saved it, it automatically, so now it's saved on your sewing machine, but it automatically saves to the cloud as well. So cool. Okay. And we're going to talk about doing this later. All right. I could actually open up a, do I have a saved one? Let me check real quick. Yeah, so I have one that I've created. So this one's not going to go with the project we're currently doing. No, I actually, the next thing I'm going to show you is going to be the same thing. So we're going to show you how to add embroidery as well. But when I'm all done, I can come down here and save project. Come on, you. Ugh. I've been having computer issues all day. All right, so we're gonna come over and open that project. Do you want to save it? I'm gonna open my project. So you get to see here where it's all broken down. So here's where, see, now this one I made for real for you guys. So I've got much better pictures here where like selecting the design. Like I said, I can't add the design, but I can tell you where to get it. And that's what I've done here. Here is how you can send it if you have a Wi-Fi capable. So there's my stitches. I went ahead and included for both if you have a Husqvarna Viking or a FOF. How to stitch it together, how to mark it, all that fun stuff. So once you've saved it, you can, I'm just going to go ahead and unshare so you can see it. Come on. I love computers. They're so fun. So when I select share project, I actually do love computers. It's very rare that I can handle the little hiccups. But when we share a project, I can copy the link, and then I can just set, like if I want to create an email, I can then send this link to an email to my friends. I can post it in the link, which I'm going to do afterwards, so that you guys can access it, etc. So any questions about that? All right. I'm going to come over here. I'm not going to go ahead and walk through the whole process, but I'm going to show you how open a previous. Oh, you can't see it. So I'm going to come and do Father's Day baseball. So here again, I have everything downloaded and step by step how to do that. How many of you have ever stitched a baseball? Apparently it's quite popular and I just found out about it, but it's really easy and really fun. That's why I decided to include this. So we're going to come on down to here. So you can, in this case, I actually traced, here I show you previously how I traced the little flap of the piece. So I go through how to take it apart and how to remove the flap. So when I talk about the panels, this is what I'm talking about. And so I walk through how to trace this and digitize a panel if you want. But in this case, I went ahead and stitched this out. But if you wanted to change the lettering or make your own, you may want to create an outline. The outline just allows us to know where to place it. And then when we can stitch it out. It is extremely easy to stitch out. I just use a regular Inspira embroidery needle, size 90, and regular embroidery thread. I do talk about the stabilizers. I used the light and tacky so that it would stick down. And then once they were in the outline position, I used the Inspira Dissolve Away on top just to kind of hold everything. And it stitches out really, really well. Okay. And then I even have how to do it. But what I want to do is talk about this guy right here, because I'm going to edit this guy. So this is an actual embroidery design. So if I were going to share this with my non-Wi-Fi capable machine friend, I would have to include in, like say I wanted to send it via email, I would have to include the design I made along with the link. So there's the design and there's the instructions. However, if you have a friend that have the Wi-Fi capability, you can actually just include the design, and when they click on it, it actually will load right to their machine for them, or to your machine if you want to do it again later. But how we do that is I'm going to come over here to the little flower, and this is to add an embroidery. And I'm going to go to the cloud, and here I have well, aren't you special? So I've been working on 3 different computers today. All right, so I'm going to do Fish for Kids. Like I said, I will load it back on before. This is really embarrassing, and I do really apologize. But I've been working on 3 different computers with these projects, and apparently I left mine over on the other computer. So, but what you can do is you load the design. But then what happens, I've talked a couple of times about touching the link and it loading. I'm going to show you how that works as well. So I'm going to come down to the bottom, and I'm going to go ahead and save it. Let's see if you're going to cooperate with me. Yes, you are. Okay. And now we're going to come, just a quick reminder that if you came over here to, if you have, back up there, if you have a Wi-Fi capable machine, then some of these little conveniences are going to come into play. So what I'm going to be talking about right now are some of those little conveniences. Okay. So I'm going to come back over here. So on the main mySewnet Wi-Fi page, if we come to downloads, this is where you can scroll down and see if you have a Wi-Fi capable, an app for your Wi-Fi capable machine. So you can go ahead and download the app that is for yours. The Creator Queue and the JoyOS Advisor, these 2 are the same for their machine. And that's what the one we're going to be playing with. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to come on over to, I'm going to be going in and using the Husqvarna Viking, and I'm going to go to the JoyOS Advisor. Now this has actually come up before when I teach stuff on this, is every once in a while somebody will say, you have mySewnet down at the bottom and I don't. If you don't have a project creator project saved, you won't have it. So if you do, then it will line up for you. So if you go ahead and touch that, you can see there's all my little projects. So if I come on over to my baseball, and I can just, so there's there's my supply list. There is my pictures on how to do everything step by step. going to come on down to, you're going to get the fish embroidery, but if I touch this, it's going to load it here. So this is where the interactive part is so cool, is everything becomes so interconnected. So when you hear somebody talking about the mySewnet ecosystem, that's kind of what they're talking about. Even though the library, it's still its own entity and you don't have to be part of the ecosystem to use it. The same with the project creator, etc. So does everybody understand that these things, many of these things are available to you on the machine you have? And then there's just some extra conveniences if you have a Wi-Fi capable machine. Okay, everybody good? Thumbs up. Okay. All right, where am I doing on time? I am doing pretty good. Actually, I am ahead of time. Okay, are there any questions that we want to go over? So one of the things too is every once in a while, if you have a Wi-Fi capable machine, there are some projects on here that are project creator, done on the project creator. And when you download it, it will show up on your, I can't think of the one that's right off the top of my head. And they will show up on your project creator. But I just do it with my phone. All right, let me see if I can find it. So all I'm doing here is I'm just, coming back to my screen. So this one, for instance, was one that came from SVP. So this one is, it actually just kind of showed up. Let me look at my sewing. I can't remember where I got this. I'm going to have to come back in the comments and talk about this because where did I get that? I will come back in the comments and list where I got that because I know it came from SVP. But there is a lot of stuff that you can do with mySewnet. It probably actually came from the library. So can the project you created be printed? So what's going to happen is it's going to, when you create your project creator, when you use project creator to do these, it's where it's going to go. So you can print this screen if you want. But if you are going to be using the project creator, you're already carrying around the printed project with you. So it'll be accessible from your computer. It'll be accessible from your phone or tablet. So if you do want it on a piece of paper, then you would have to just print your screen because I do not think there's a printable. Take a double check before nope. No, so you can save it and you can share it. Like I said, you can carry it around with you, so it makes it very, very convenient. It is on the FAF icon. Aha. Thank you. So that's why it's not showing up here, is because it is on the creative FAF icon. So yeah, things pop up all the time. So okay. So I'm really interested. So when it comes to printing your screen, I keep hitting the wrong one. You can actually come up and print your screen that way. Any other questions? We may end up ending a bit early today. So it is a really easy program to use. Like I said, it's free. And there's extra bonuses if you have a Wi-Fi capable machine. So how many of you are going to try and do a baseball? It's really fun, I have to tell you. So, and also if you have not seen Disney's Cruella, I highly recommend it. It is not what you're probably thinking. It's really, really enjoyable. The costumes alone are worth watching it for. Really, really awesome. So is there any other questions that we've got going on? Because we really covered. I'm just going to go ahead and review then this. So here the project, the example project is kind of going to review what we talked about. So you're going to list your supplies, name your project, and then it does come down in the different things that you can add. So like here, you can add media. So this is the icon for pictures. It's a mountain with the sun. This is your icon for your stitches. This is your icon for your embroidery. And you can add video. But like I said, I was having trouble with my computer today and couldn't get my video to work. When you incorporate a video that you've made, you're going to use either Dropbox or Vimeo or something like that to store it. It won't pull it right off your computer. So you will need one of those, and it'll let you know. Here it is. So you can see here where it's Vimeo, Google Drive, or a public Dropbox folder. And that is where it's going to pull your embroidery from, or your video from. It can't pull it right off your computer. So did you say you were going to share the baseball project? Yes, I am. So once I'm done, I'm going to go and load the proper embroidery file back on rather than the fish. You don't want the fish. And then I will come back and link both of these projects into that pinned comment section. Or maybe I can, Meredith, maybe you can let me know if you're going to, how I should do that, but I will definitely put that in there. Because I know there's a pinned post at the top, and so maybe we can get it in there. All right. So yes, I'm going to share the baseball project. Does this run down your phone battery when you are using the mySewnet? Not any more than any other project does, or any other app that you have on your phone. If you have a Designer Epic, a Designer Ruby 90, or the Designer Epic 2, there's 2 USB ports on the side. And so one of those is charging. So you can actually charge it while you work on stuff. But it does not really take more juice than any other app that you would use. And just an FYI, if you are on, and this happens to me all the time, if you're using your phone or your tablet and you're noticing that the battery is just kind of just moving really, really quickly, or you're running out of juice really quick, make sure that you've closed some of the apps that you have open, because there are some apps that will be constantly in action even though you're not in use. So if you make sure that all your apps are closed, that will also preserve the life of your battery. I created a project in Project Creator 2 years ago and it disappeared. Is there a way to retrieve it? I don't know. To be honest with you, it's probably not likely, but I will look into it. So once I've posted my projects for you guys, then I'll do some research and see who I need to talk to and if it's possible. Okay, and I'll let you know. Can I use the Joy OS on a Diamond Royale? All right. So if you do not have a Wi-Fi capable machine, so let's just say I'm Joe Blow. I have another brand and it's not Wi-Fi capable. then the apps are probably not like will not be very beneficial to you. However, there's a few things that are. So it's still, I'll show you, and you can make up your mind. If you have an SVP machine and it's not Wi-Fi capable, this is still going to be coming in very handy. And let me show you. So I'm actually going to come over here and let's see if you can see this. Good. All right, good. So I'm going to go ahead and use the FOF this time, even though I'm on, because I know I've got some FOF folks in here. But in the main menu, now the getting started is specific for the machine. So it's going to show you how to thread it and how to wind your bobbin and all that kind of stuff. But then there's techniques and tutorials. And these can be quite helpful as well. So like if I go to garment, and let's say I have not put in a zipper in a bazillion years, but I want to put a zipper at the top of a purse, there's instructions. So you can still use these, including videos. You can still use these even if you do not have a Wi-Fi capable machine. Where the Wi-Fi capability comes in is when it says this. When it says to touch this to load the stitch, if you do not have a Wi-Fi capable machine, you're just going to be touching it for the sake of touching it. Nothing's going to happen. So you would want to, it's telling us here to do a straight stitch. You would want to go ahead and select a straight stitch, etc. So that is one of the things. When it says touch to load, you're just not going to be able to. But there is quite a few good information in here. This is one of my favorites, stabilizer guide, built right in. So on the FOF, this is called the Creator Q, and on the Husqvarna Viking, it's the Joy OS Advisor. And so while it not having a Wi-Fi capable machine, you will not be able to access those quick little things. But as you can see, there's still a lot of information to be had in them. So I highly recommend. Was there any other questions? Oh, I do want to write that down. So I'm just writing down the disappeared so that I will look for that afterwards. So do we have any other questions on anything? So I still have a few minutes if we want to talk about anything. Okay, another question. How do you close out, delete open projects listed on the welcome screen? Define what you mean by the welcome screen. Are you talking about this welcome screen? So if I come here and I want to get rid of these, is this what you're referring? Because if you are, you can actually just come into here and you can open it and you can delete it from here. There's a way to delete it. I cannot remember. There is a way to delete it. So, open previous. There we go. So I can come over here and delete. I keep right clicking. Okay, when you open mySewnet, so when I open mySewnet, still again, hello. So is this the open screen that you're referring to? So when you open this screen, there's no projects. This is just information. So there's a knowledge center that you can get your downloads from here. There's all kinds of tools. What it's about, pricing, etc. And then if you go into the library, this is just the front page is always kind of what's new. So this is constantly changing. So there's what's new, there's tips and tricks, there's inspiration, all that kind of stuff. But these are always going to be changing. Could you repeat the steps to save an icon blog on Project Creator. So if you have the FAF Creative icon, it is probably, and you open up the Creator queue, you probably already see it. If not, if you go to the blog on the FAF Creative icon and scroll down, this one is called We Are All in This Together. And if you select that, down at the bottom, there'll be a link that's blue, that's highlighted like electric blue. If you touch on that, it's going to download it and save it for you. I just don't have the icon in front of me, otherwise I would show you. But when you go to any of this, will do on any of the Wi-Fi capable machines that has the blog. Anytime you open up a blog post, if you see that neon or that highlighted electric blue, they're giving you something for free. So make sure that you click on it, save it, and see what it is, because they're usually describing this is the project in the blog, and I use this design, and sometimes they'll give you that design, or that they created a stitch and they'll give you that stitch. Or sometimes it's a project creator where they'll just download, you can download the whole project in the project creator. Okay. So does that help? So back to the mySewnet. There's nothing you can do about this. So these are going to be the way they are here. You can, and that's going to constantly change. You can create favorites. So if I want to, I'm like, oh, the frog's so cute, I have to have him. I just can't use them right now. I can just touch the heart and save it. And this one I can uncheck later if I want to. So that's about the only editing on the library that we're able to do. But once we go to the cloud, so we could delete off the project creator, we can delete off the cloud, but the library is a website. Okay. So let's say I want to, so I'm done with Fish for Kids. So here I could come and say, I'm done with Fish for Kids. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this guy. So I can delete things from here. I don't know if that's answering your question at all, but I'm hoping I cover enough that maybe I'll come close. All right. So does that answer those questions that came up? Okay. All right. So how are the designs built? So that's a very good question. So when you sign up for an account, you can put in your information. But if you, that's actually a very good question, because I am already signed up for an account. So I'm going to go ahead and sign out. I'm just going to go ahead and sign out. And I'm going to quickly make it doesn't matter. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. Oh, no, I need to create an account here. So, whoa, I need to create an account. I know. I want to make an account. There we go. Register. It's been a while since I've made one. So here we go. So it's good that we're doing this. And we'll do the USA. And don't get too excited about that email, because it's a dead account. So you can send me, but I won't see anything. You can subscribe to the newsletter, and you have to say you are 16 years old. All right. So now we can sign in. So I'm going to do. Hopefully I remember my password I gave it. And I didn't, of course. All right, good. Phew. All right. So here's my profile. So let's go. I've got an account now. Let's go to the library and let's try and download something. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Cruella. And I'm going to say, I want to just do this guy. And I'm going to go free. Let's see what he does. I'm going to come up to the cart. I'm going to agree. I'm going to confirm. It's probably at some point going to ask for a credit card if you are going to ask. So because it was free, they didn't ask me anything. But if you were going to purchase a paid for, I'm sure they're going to ask for a credit card for you. But the free ones, you don't have to put in anything. You just have to make an account, which, as you see, is extremely easy. Just your name, email, and a password. Any other questions? Okay, well, I'm surprised I thought we might finish early, but well, I really do want to thank you guys for coming. I do apologize again for the little snafus at the beginning, and I will be on to link those Project Creator projects. So give me about 15 minutes to make sure they're on there really good, and then come on back and you can just go ahead and click on them and download them. Okay? All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming, and I want to thank you to my crew, and I will see you next time, and I'll talk to y'all later. All right. Bye.